National Employment Law Project is releasing a new report. It says that we lost 1 million high-wage jobs during the recession. We traded them for 1.8 million low-wage jobs. Let's bring in our panel for reaction. Charlie Gasparino, Brian Sozzi of Bellis Capital, and James Frischling of NewOak's Capital. First of all, what did you think of that guest that just came on?
I thought she was, listen, there's obviously an issue in this country where the upper 1% is making a lot of money in the Obama economy. Rich people can invest in the stock market. And following the financial crisis, there have been less well-paying jobs being produced. Income disparity is definitely a fact. But what she's doing is she wants to make a bad situation even worse. I mean, there is not a general consensus among economists that if you raise the minimum wage, nothing's going to happen. The general consensus is that you will lose jobs. That's a general consensus. That is mainstream economists. We should also point out something else. Maybe the 10th most powerful lobby group in Washington is this Restaurant Association, but the number one is Mr. Obama's friend, the SEIU. And government workers. Yeah. So don't make it sound like this is the most powerful. The most powerful lobby organization in America right now is the SIEU.
Service Employees, right? Service Employees International. You know, one of the things that she's talking about, that we're talking about in this segment, is this idea that there are many more people who are trying to survive on very low-wage jobs and grappling with that problem. I mean, this was out of the National Employment Law Report. So, you know, we lost 3.6 million positions in the recession of high-paying jobs. Only 2.6 came back. It was the opposite at the low end. Many more came back than were there before. So there's a lot more people who have been forced to take very low-paying jobs as a result of this recession. What's the cure for that?
Well, I think this is very much a byproduct of the recession. And look, this is very much the McDonald's economy. You're having McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, dollar stores, low-wage companies opening up hundreds of stores across the United States. Why? Because they're trying to tap into that pool of labor that they can have on the cheap. And I think it's going to continue.
James, what do you think about that? I mean, what is the solution for the low-wage worker out there?
Well, let me tell you something. I do think the guest was missing one big point, which was the restaurant margins are so skinny. While they've been the big employers, you hit them with more expenses, it is going to cost jobs. I'd also say there was a huge spike in part-time workers since the recession began, and that still has not yet. So I believe the worker kind of recovery is being somewhat derailed again by these low-paid jobs.
Where are there good-paying jobs? There's good-paying jobs in North Dakota where they allow fracking. Why isn't the President of the United States allowing good blue-collar jobs that pay a lot of money to happen in this country?
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Your reaction to HerbaLife after
First off, it's not a Ponzi scheme, it's a pyramid scheme. Huge difference. Ponzi scheme, you actually steal the money. Pyramid scheme, it's much more complicated, completely disclosed.
Is HerbaLife a pyramid scheme?
I don't know, but here's the thing. It's totally disclosed. Nobody will, either a distributor or an investor doesn't know what's going on with this company right now. If you think that if you don't like the business model, which attracts distributors, and you don't believe that those distributors are end users, that means it's not a pyramid scheme. If you don't believe that, don't buy the stock.
James, what do you think?
You know, since Fox started reporting on this, a group of friends and I we actually went on it. And I'm not saying that is...
You did?
I'm on it right now.
You're on HerbaLife?
I'm on HerbaLife right now. I'm working with a distributor, and
what?
Well, I am buying from, and I just decided, let me be a customer and experience this.
So what did you find out?
Well, I'm about 2 weeks into this. I'm down about 6 pounds, whether that is... And I'm not saying it's a magic product, and I'm not endorsing the marketing practices. I will only say that my experience as a customer has been positive, and our experience from the person who's working with us, again, has been positive.
Are you trying to sell to all of us now?
Not at all. I'm not going to sell a single thing.
I've tasted those shakes.
That guidance up a little bit.
Those shakes are disgusting.
Are they disgusting?
Yes. I guess
a little bit.
It depends on the
A little
mix.
bit disgusting. They're marginally disgusting. All right, thanks, guys. We are halfway through earnings. This season, we've seen a trend of companies giving away cash. So is this a good move for shareholders? Joining me now, Scott Martin of United Advisors, Brian Sozzi of Bellis Capital, and James Frischling of NewOak's Capital. Thanks to all of you for joining us. You know, everybody's been saying, oh, they've got all this cash on their balance sheets, they're just sitting on it. A lot of companies like Apple doing buybacks and increasing dividends. But is that the best use of cash? What do you think, Brian?
No, I think you're seeing what I call soulless executives, afraid to take risks and put the business in a great position for the future. And I think for those businesses that are investing, their stocks are getting rewarded. You're seeing Starbucks, Chipotle, restaurant sector, believe it or not, invest in mobile technology, online technology, and I think they get it.
Yeah, James, what do you think? I mean, what do you think of Apple doing a $30 billion buyback? I mean, J&J raising its quarterly dividend. Dow returned money through share repurchase. It's something.
No, it is something, and I agree with Brian's comment that I think the lack of activity from other companies is showing a little bit of a fear factor. What does the future hold? And I got to tell you, with debt as cheap as it is, these companies, many of them have loaded up on cheap debt, almost building a war chest for the unknown. But that's not helping shareholders. It's not advancing any of these, in my opinion, creative strategies they could be deploying.
Scott, I mean, what you want to see in a healthy economy is that they're taking risks. They're either acquiring other companies. I mean, GE is the only one that's on our list that's thinking about doing that. They're acquiring other companies, or they're opening new locations, or they're building factories, or they're hiring people. Are you seeing any of that going on? Do you think it's going to happen anytime soon?
Well, hiring people seems like a novel idea that nobody's doing, so I'll throw that one out, Melissa. But you know what's funny is there are some things going on. I mean, the problem is, though, is that if you're in the boardroom, right, if you're C-level executive, I think to Brian's point, you're going to save your hide, and you're going to do that by getting your share price up. And yes, you're right, Melissa. I mean, we would hope that a lot of these companies would reinvest, but look at like Yahoo, for example. I mean, people are hating on Marissa Mayer right now, but she's done about 24 deals since she got in there. Alibaba, of course, being a big one that Yahoo's got going for it, but there's other smaller ones that aren't getting a lot of praise that I think are really good. And Facebook, too. I mean, everybody poo-poos what Facebook is doing with WhatsApp and Oculus, but guess what? That's totally the mobile push that I think is going to help the company.
That's true. I mean, what do you guys make of that? We are seeing some movement in technology. They are investing, and both those companies get criticized when they go out and pay that big money.
Well, I think Scott's right on the mark here. I think you're seeing why you're not seeing more risk being taken in business is incentive compensation structures. And certainly one name that has been in the news lately is Coca-Cola. I think given the performance they've had out of that company over the past 5 years, executives, especially Muhtar Kent, does not deserve that compensation plan. It all stems from that.
James, who would you like to see spend more money in a different way?
The mining companies. Their capital investment right now is at a low point of almost like 10 years. And yet the sentiment is that we've hit a bottom. The U.S. and the European economies, the most part people feel are improving stories. And yet CapEx is at a low point.
That's a great one. All right, we'll end there. Thanks, gentlemen. Governor Rick Perry scoring another big win for the Lone Star State. Toyota confirming just this hour that it's headed for Texas. Fox Business's Jolene Kent is here with more on this one, and James Frischling is back with us also. This is a big deal, right, Joe?
Yeah, it is. Since they've been there since the 1950s, they're moving 5,300 workers to Texas. This is a big blow for Torrance, California, and the area in general. Just the latest in tax flight into Texas because of the better deals there.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying, we were talking in the break, that this is happening all around the country, big and small. You yourself were lured to Connecticut from New York. I mean, we have the same problems as California.
It's absolutely, yes, we have high taxes, high cost of living, and high reg. But as businesses start to look to expand and grow, you do look for states that are going to be more business friendly. And for us, our expansion, Connecticut came up with by far the best proposal.
Joe, you know, I mean, the list goes on and on. This is the latest and the biggest one, but there are 50 companies, you know, that have moved just in the past. I mean, since July of 2012, Governor Rick Perry has lured 50-plus companies, some of the big names: Occidental, LegalZoom, eBay, Apple, Petco, Google, Visa. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, we have a map for you. California leaving right there. Petco, Chevron, Raytheon, all these different companies going for a variety of reasons. And it's also good for the workers who get transplanted there if they're able to move, because there's no individual.
Are they, though? I mean, that's what I was wondering when you're saying they're moving 5,200 workers. Are they really firing people in California and hiring people in Texas?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. We saw the confirmation of the announcement before, but oftentimes with corporations, especially when you're looking at sales and management, there's a certain degree of people that cannot be replaced, right? And they will probably have to just be relocated, which is good or bad for them, who knows? But then there's some jobs that will be replaced. So I think that certainly for California, for Torrance, it's a tough move.
Yeah, and we're just looking at more of this going forward, right, James, real quick?
I think so. I mean, Texas is a dominant player, but others are competing now. And when states compete, businesses will win.
Money goes where it's treated best. Thanks to both of you guys.